The battle for a clean environment and sustainable living is being waged here on the ground at the prayer gathering at Standing Rock. This battle is also being fought in the hearts and minds of all Americans. Legislative proposals for our national resources will likely be dictated by the oil and gas industry via members of the Trump cabinet. These men are owned by and owners of the petrochemical industry. The Republican Congress will likely ratify this barrage of legislation swayed by their big oil donors. Nevertheless, the will of the people still plays a role in the votes that our representatives make. From the bully and Twitter pulpits, the incessant Fox News echo chamber, and the alt-right web, we can expect this petrochemical collective to make every effort to shift the views of Americans on energy and climate control. But what should we expect this effort to look like? The Mackinac Center, a Koch brothers-funded right-wing think tank based in recount-resistant Michigan, describes the shift of the crowd's conversation in terms of the Overton Window. Joseph Overton observed that in any particular public policy area, between extremes of policy actions, there is a relatively small range of politically acceptable legislation. The essence of the Overton Window is that only policy initiatives within this window of the politically possible will meet with success. This window is not defined by politicians' personal preferences, but rather by what these politicians believe they can support and still win re-election. In general, this window shifts to allow different policy options only when ideas change among the public. Here we'll explore the Overton Window as it relates to American energy policy. In this case, the Overton Window for energy is defined with the least government intervention and the most freedom at the top, and the most government intervention and the least freedom at the bottom. Keep in mind that all of these terms come from the Mackinac Center and are heavily biased towards the oil industry's preferred language. So as you read this, understand that freedom seems to be defined as allowing oil companies to act without regulation or oversight. This red outline encompasses the currently acceptable positions on energy policy, and we can expect a corporate push to move this window of acceptable positions upwards towards most freedom and least government intervention. But let's look at this slightly differently. Let's move these public policy options from their visually low status to our left and move the uppermost options, defined as the least government intervention and most freedom, to the right. Now, instead of a red outline defining the Overton Window for energy, what you're able to see in front of you defines the Overton Window of politically actionable public policy. Looking to the left shifts your window towards public policy that favors increased environmental protections, renewable energy subsidies, and conservation efforts, while looking to the right moves the public conversation towards an uncontrolled energy market with little regulation or oversight, and coincidentally, big profits. In the months and years ahead, keep your ears and eyes open for language about job-killing pricing controls and the elimination of unfair renewable energy subsidies. These will all be efforts to move the Overton Window to the right and create a society in which shareholders' profits are placed above our collective interests. As artists, creators, and influencers, it is our responsibility to move the public perception of what is possible on every political front. 10 years ago, the possibility of marriage equality was outside the realm of what was politically possible. In these terms, it was outside the Overton Window. Together, we were able to shift the view of the crowd so far that legislation to give this basic human right to all Americans was not only possible, but inevitable.